Okay, so I've just realised that if I want to share part of the live feed, then I can't do two things at once. So I'm just going to record this and then figure it out later. So where was I up to? We got up to fly our lives like paper kites. So the idea of paper is ability to control people. And that's what she's trying to say here. So we've had different types of power. So the first section, let's just go over it very quickly, that paper, what's written on the paper has the power to change things. What she says is what could alter things. She's being suggestive. Could change things, not necessarily, but it could. So the power of paper there. And the importance of writing things down, the power in writing things down, why it's important, the idea of where you come from, your family history, sense of traditions, and we can easily link that with other poems. Then she talks about buildings, how she maybe doesn't understand them in the same way. If they were paper, I might feel their drift, how easily they fall away on a sigh. So the fact that there's no permanence in buildings either. And the sense of control again through paper with maps, and the idea of borderlines, which we can compare with the idea of in immigrate, the idea of not being able to cross a borderline because you haven't got that passport, so you can't do it. So we are trying to control the world with paper, with a type of tissue. Then the last section of the poem is probably the most metaphorical, the most challenging, but possibly the most beautiful and the most powerful. So I'll just read that last section, so it's from line 25 to the end, and then I'll go through that. So an architect could use all this, place layer over layer, luminous script over numbers over line, and never wish to build again with brick or block, but let the daylight break through capitals and monoliths, through the shapes that pride can make, and find a way to trace a grand design with living tissue, raise a structure never meant to last, of paper smoothed and stroked, and thin to be transparent, turned into your skin. Okay, so this here is metaphorical. So an architect would use all this place layer over layer. Now I think about this as being architects of our own life. All these little bits that we're building up to our own life. We're taking the power ourselves. So an architect is quite vague. Anybody could be that architect and build their own life. Now luminous, such a positive word there. There's quite a lot of light words that go throughout the poem. Like luminous, it's so bright and vibrant and fantastic. Script over numbers over line. The idea you don't want to build with brick because building a human life is so much more exciting, so much more vibrant, so much better. And then she says, but let the daylight break through capitals and monoliths. The idea of this sunshine, this brightness coming through again and like sort of scattering the buildings, that's not the important things, like the light shining through. And there's a lot of, again, metaphor connected to light, the idea of truth and life. And that's, again, what's most important. And she says the shapes that pride can make, the idea of buildings just not really being anything other than just pride. There's no power in them, they're just symbols of pride. And that links very nicely to Ozymandias, him trying to create something that's going to last. And then she says to find a way to trace a grand design with living tissue. So building something with living tissue. So that could be having children. And again, because I do have children, I can relate to that. And raise a structure never meant to last. Like we're never going to last longer than around 100 years, you know, best case scenario. But that doesn't matter. It's still put our energy into it. And that's more important than the buildings that will last hundreds and hundreds of years. And then she becomes very metaphorical again. It's quite challenging. Of paper smoothed and stroked and thin to be transparent, turned into your skin. Which is quite a difficult thing to get your head around. Again, it's down to interpretation. But I can kind of take you back to the baby book, Phoebe's baby book. The idea of, like, I can look back on these memories and think of her as a baby and like almost stroke the pages, trying to reconnect with her as a baby. She's 5 now. And then turned into your skin. But that isn't what is really important, not this book, it's actually her. Like, my daughter. She is what is important, and not the bits that are written down, actually her. So as much as the power of paper is important, buildings are important to a point, but it's people that are really important. And I think in the last line with turned into your skin, Emmet as dark as including the reader in that you are important and more important than any of the other stuff. Okay, it is a tough poem. I really like it. You all hate it. Whatever. I feel like with a lot of life experience, you can see more of the things that come into this, which I do appreciate the fact that when I was 16, I wouldn't have a clue about these sort of life experiences, because a lot of them have come since I was an adult. So I can get where you're coming from. We'll have to go over this again, I'm sure, in class. I hope it's made a bit of a difference going through it now. I feel like I'm just going on and on. But there you go. Any questions, maybe you'll have to kind of message me for that, about this, and I'll put up my notes as well on Instagram. Thank you for listening.